Hello everybody, yes, it is a different style video. I am opening a package that I have been very much looking forward to open for quite some time now, as well as answering some of your questions. I'll answer the questions at the end of the video, but in the meantime, yes, I have here a good old-fashioned Amazon package. Now, I'm just gonna tear it apart, so bear with me one second. And inside said Amazon package is this. The Frank Capra at Columbia collection. So, a little birdie told me that for this Christmas, Santa will be getting me a new 4K player, and I don't own any 4Ks or even Blu-rays for that matter, so I thought, well, if I'm going to start a collection, I may as well start at the top and get what many people are calling the collection of 2024, and I am absolutely buzzing to get this open. I can't wait. Now I'm just going to take some of the plastic off, and in the meantime, just comment below, would you like to see more videos like this, unboxings, or maybe me putting together a collection of 4Ks and Blu-rays? I'll kind of try and go out there and get some criterions and stuff and start a criterion collection as well, because I don't even own any of them yet. So yeah, if that's something you'd be interested in me documenting and you guys following along, do let me know in the comments whilst I take the plastic off. Now, how cool is this? I do believe it opens like a little door. Oh, that's class. Yep, no, loving that. Loving this. So this is the box. It's on a bit of a... Oh, just been hit in the face by the card. But it's on a bit of a slope. And that's obviously for display purposes. It'll go somewhere in the setup in the background anyway. And yeah, I'll be honest, I've only seen, I think, 3 of these movies. So I'm very much looking forward to getting into Frank Capra's older works. Because yeah, his time at Columbia was from the 20s to the late 30s, and that is kind of what this is covering. So we've got on the back, let me just show you all the posters. Obviously the ring light is going to cover that, but here's a picture. So yeah, we've This Is Love, The Way of the Strong, That Certain Thing, Submarine, The Younger Generation, Flight, Ladies of Leisure, which I saw went on Criterion recently, so I'm particularly looking forward to that. Rain or Shy, Dirigible, The Miracle Woman, which is meant to be very good, Platinum Blonde, which I think also just went on Criterion, American Madness, The Bitter Tea of General Yen, which I'm very much looking forward to because it's got one of my favorite actresses of all time in it, in Barbara Stanwyck. Another Barbara Stanwyck film then in Forbidden, then Lady for a Day, and then of course It Happened One Night, which I have seen, Mr. Deeds Goes to Town, which I'm looking forward to, Lost Horizon, which I'm looking forward to, and then 2 more that I have seen, You Can't Take It With You, and of course, maybe my favorite film in this entire collection, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, Jimmy Stewart, Claude Rains, It's magic. So yeah, one of my big concerns after I bought this, because I'm clever like that, is is this region free, because obviously being in Ireland, we are region 2, or region B, sorry, I should say, for Blu-rays. I know most 4Ks these days you can just play, doesn't matter where you buy them, but Blu-rays are still regioned A, B, and C, or if they have a little ABC on the back, you're good. And I believe these have an ABC on the back, so I'm good. But yeah, I'm just going to slide them all out here and show you a few covers, and then I'm going to get into answering some of your questions at home. So first off, we have Frank Capra, Mr. America, which I believe is a documentary that comes with it. Mr. America tells the story of Frank Capra, a young immigrant who rose through the ranks of early Hollywood to become one of the great American storytellers. Yes, documentary, great stuff, love a doc. Then we've got the 4K of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. How cool is that? Ah, ring light, what you doing me like that? How cool is that? The 4K of You Can't Take It With You, and the disc seems to be sliding around in there, so let me just fix that real quick. I believe, yeah, it's got all the special features as well, which is so cool. Yeah, You Can't Take It With You. Another Jimmy Stewart film that I would highly recommend. It's really, really great. Lost Horizon, which I've never seen. Again, very much looking forward to that on 4K. Mr. Deeds Goes to Town. Gary Cooper, as I said, looking forward to that one quite a lot. I don't even know if I've seen a Gary Cooper movie before, which is like blasphemy, I'm sure. But yeah, I haven't seen High Noon or any of those films, so this will be a good one to start, I feel. It Happened One Night, one of my favorite rom-coms literally ever. And then we've got the Blu-rays of Forbidden and Lady for a Day. The Blu-rays for American Madness and The Bitter Tea of General Yen. Platinum Blonde on 4K. And yeah, it's pretty cool as well that we get some of his pre-code stuff. So let's see how risque Frank gets. We've The Miracle Woman on Blu-ray. A 4K of Dirigible, which I'll be honest, That was bound to happen, which I'll be honest, I have never actually heard of before this collection. So the fact that this one gets a 4K is interesting to me. I'll definitely make sure to watch it sooner rather than later. The Blu-rays of Ladies of Leisure and Flight. I'm very much looking forward to both of these, if I'm honest. Rain or Shine on Blu-ray, which admittedly I had never heard of prior to this collection. The 4K of The Younger Generation and the 4K of Submarine. And then 3 more Blu-rays just to round things off. We have That Certain Thing, The Way of the Strong. Come on, ring light. The Way of the Strong. And last but not least, So This Is Love. And those last few were all silence as well. So, yeah, good to get a couple of them off the list, because I've seen a few silent films, like probably more than 10, but I should definitely watch more. Pretty cool as well that the doors just kind of slide inside of it as well, if you want to display it that way. But yeah, that is the Frank Capra at Columbia collection. A pretty great way for me to start my 4K and Blu-ray collection, if I'm honest. I'm very much looking forward to it. And yeah, give me a few recommendations as well as to maybe some collections that I should get if I am to start building some sort of collection for me to document on this channel. And now I'm going to go across to both our YouTube post and our Instagram story to see what questions you've got for me. From Ali, who are directors you haven't covered that you'd like to? I'd love to cover Kurosawa. Big Kurosawa fan, so I am. I would love to cover... We haven't covered Frank Capra yet, but we are doing It's a Wonderful Life very soon on the podcast, so I definitely look forward to covering him. Any of the French New Wave directors, love to cover Godard, and I'd love to cover Truffaut on the podcast, and Agnes Varda as well, because I'd love to do Cleo from 5 to 7 on the podcast one day, definitely. I'd definitely like to do some of the John Ford westerns, mainly because I haven't seen that many of them, so it would be a good excuse to. So yeah, if we ever do kind of a westerns month or something, I'd definitely look forward to covering some of John Ford's work, because yeah, the man's westerns were some of the biggest of the time period, so we definitely need to cover them at some point on the podcast, I feel. So yeah, I'll go Kurosawa, John Ford, and Frank Capra, although we are literally covering him very soon. Again from Ali, what's your favourite non-US country to watch films from? It's no surprise that France is definitely up there. Japan would definitely be there as well. And if we're saying more modern stuff, I'd certainly say South Korea. Italy have some good films as well, especially the neo-realist stuff from the 40s and the 50s. That's all very good. And of course, you gotta shout out the Brits. They did make Peeping Tom after all, and that's one of the best movies of the 60s in my opinion. And another question here I have, why did you start the podcast? We started the podcast because we found in college anyway that Shane and I, especially like in between lectures and stuff, we'd just find ourselves talking about movies all the time. And regularly it was like older movies, specifically Hitchcock, I felt. And yeah, I think when we finished college and neither of us kind of went straight into jobs to do with film or TV or producing or anything, we still kind of wanted some sort of outlet. I feel like there just wasn't many kind of classic film podcasts about, so we leapt at the chance because we both love older movies as well as new movies, of course. But yeah, we just thought that there was maybe a little gap in the market, shall we say, for a podcast on older films, and we thought, well, why not give it a try? And yeah, here we are. We're still going after 30 something episodes, so that's pretty great. On Instagram, I have a question here, which is, who are some of your favorite classic film YouTubers? Gotta shout out Nathan Hale, of course, Maple Street Movies. He was on the podcast once for our Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid episode, if you haven't seen it, so go give that a watch. Who else do I like? I don't really watch an awful lot of YouTube anymore, if I'm honest. I don't really have time to watch too much stuff because I'm generally watching movies for the podcast or top 12 lists or whatever if I do have any free time, so yeah, let me think about it. I mean, I'll check my subscriptions box. I think Dark Corners Reviews is cool because they cover some real niche older films as well as newer films, of course, but they cover some real niche stuff. Both really old movies and real classic film reviews are both good as well for sort of podcasts. We don't necessarily, like, I hadn't actually heard of either of them prior to starting the podcast, and I know at least with real classic film reviews that they do cover more modern stuff as well, but they were pretty cool just to see that like other film podcasts exist, and they definitely would be getting more views than us every once in a while, so it was kind of an aspiration that maybe with our podcast that we'd kind of get similar views to them eventually and come up with some sort of little community, I guess. And as well, I'll just mention Films by Colour as well, because one, his collection is so cool, and two, I feel like he comes up on my TikTok a lot these days, and his TikToks are really good, especially with his little home cinema and home bar. It's very cool. Very much the dream. And as well from Instagram, who is an actor who we haven't covered who I'd like to cover? Definitely would like to cover some of Chaplin and Buster Keaton stuff, and Harold Lloyd stuff next year for sure. And that's from the 20s, from the 30s. I honestly can't really think of anyone. We've covered a lot of actors, even just in smaller roles in some of the more obscure Hitchcock films. We haven't covered James Dean. We haven't covered Mifune as well. We actually put up a poll recently anyway about all that. But yeah, we haven't covered Marilyn Monroe or Audrey Hepburn, so I'd love to cover them as well. Definitely on the list, probably for early next year if I'm honest. And yeah, I reckon that'll do it. So yeah, slightly different video, a bit of an unboxing, bit of a Q&A, what can I say? And again, if you want to maybe see me document me sort of building a collection of Blu-rays and 4Ks and whatnot, let me know in the comments and leave a like on the video and let me know what else you want to see. And yeah, in future, I didn't really give much of a window for the Q&A, if I'm honest. I only gave it like an hour, and I'm aware that a lot of our subscribers are in the US, so you might be annoyed that you missed that window, but hey, I'll leave a bigger window next time. This was very much, I was not expecting this to come today. This was meant to come next Monday, and I'm recording this on a Thursday, so yeah, was planning on doing this next week, but I thought as soon as it came, why not just film the video? Anyway, I will see you all for the latest episode of the Golden Hour Film Podcast. Whether I get this out before White Christmas or not is a different story, but hey, if it's not White Christmas, I'll see you all for next week's episode, or this week's episode, whenever. I don't fucking care. It's a Wonderful Life, and I can't wait. It's one of my favorite movies ever. See you then.